On the evening of March 5, 1993, Rick Ennis, a 12-year-old boy, was walking along a dimly lit highway in Alabama near Montgomery. He had recently been involved in a car accident with his family's vehicle, which was now parked by a fence on the roadside, and he was making his way home on foot. It was during this time that John Clark, at the time serving as an Alabama state trooper, encountered Ennis, unaware that the young boy had committed the murder of his own parents. Recalling the moment, Clark described how his headlights illuminated a figure resembling a young boy with a backpack as he approached a curve on the road. According to Clark, Ennis confessed to driving the crashed car and consented to a search of his backpack. "The first item I retrieved was a kitchen knife," Clark recounted. "In the bottom of the bag there were some loose 12-gauge and a .22 caliber ammunition." Clark then remembered placing the young Ennis in the back seat of his patrol car, initially assuming that Ennis would face repercussions from his parents for taking the car without permission. However, as Clark began questioning Ennis, the boy disclosed something shocking. When I asked him about his parents' whereabouts, Clark recollected, he calmly responded, "I killed them both. No tears, no emotion, nothing." This confession prompted a series of actions that ultimately led local police in Montgomery to enter Ennis' residence, where they tragically discovered the bodies of his mother, Dolly, and his father, Eddie Joe Flowers. The couple, who had met in church and were married for just 10 months, met a devastating fate. Welcome back to Crime Scene Archives. Today we're diving into a case that's sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. Get ready as we unravel the mysterious disappearance of Lori Slesinski. So grab your detective hat, like and subscribe to join as we explore the twists and turns of true crime. Warning: this video contains graphic content related to crime scenes. It is intended for educational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. According to authorities, Ennis admitted to fatally shooting his mother in the face and then beating her to death. He confessed to subsequently killing his stepfather with a shotgun blast to the face upon his return from work. Ennis stated that his motive for the murders was anger over his parents' plans to relocate. Investigators also revealed that he resided with their bodies for 2 days while continuing to attend school. Additionally, during a search of the residence, law enforcement discovered what they described as a to-do list, which includes plans to harm his 3 stepsisters. In accordance with Alabama law, Ennis served 9 years in juvenile detention until his release at age 21. He later relocated to Auburn, where he found employment at a bowling alley and formed a friendship with Lori Slesinski. However, on Saturday, June 10, 2006, Slesinski vanished without a trace, leading to significant changes in the situation. According to Slesinski's close friend Lindsay Braun, she and Lori had arranged to spend the evening together at Braun's residence. The two women initially met during their junior year at Auburn University and grew even closer after graduating in 2004 while working together at a local mental health facility. Braun recounted the plans she and her friend had made during an interview. They had eagerly anticipated a cozy evening at Braun's place, filled with rum runners, a movie, and the simple joy of spending time together. The evening started as planned, with Braun expecting her friend's arrival after a quick stop at the store for drink mixes. Around 6:30, her friend called, mentioning the errand before heading over. However, as time passed, there was an unexpected silence. 30 minutes later, the phone rang again, but this time it was brief, only ringing once or twice before falling silent. Braun answered promptly, expecting her friend's voice on the other end. Yet, to her confusion, there was only silence. Intrigued by the sudden change in events, she was asked about her friend's reliability. Braun's response was unequivocal. Her friend had never failed to show up without prior notice. This unexpected absence left Braun perplexed and concerned, setting off a chain of worry and unanswered questions in her mind. Braun explained that she went to bed that night, hoping Slesinski had opted to visit another friend who had recently given birth, or that unforeseen circumstances had arisen. Braun recalled her efforts to reach out to her friend the next day. Concerned by her sudden disappearance, she recounted how she repeatedly dialed her friend's home number and left voicemails on the answering machine. Reflecting on her last conversation with her friend, Braun remembered hearing Ennis' voice in the background. Aware of the friendship, she didn't initially find this alarming, explaining to the interviewer that Ennis and her friend had been close acquaintances. However, when Slesinski failed to report to work after the weekend, Braun grew worried and reached out to Ennis via text message. Lindsay recalled receiving a text from Ennis, assuming that everything was fine with Lori. By Tuesday, when Slesinski still absent from work for a second day, Braun and a colleague decided to visit Lori's mobile home to check on her. Upon arrival, Braun sensed that something was amiss. The door was unlocked, which was unusual. The air conditioning was on. Her dog, Peanut, was in his crate, Braun described. However, Slesinski was nowhere to be found. Another odd detail emerged. When Braun let Peanut out of his crate, the dog seemed content and well-fed. His crate was clean as if someone had cared for him, despite Lori's absence for nearly 3 days. During the interview, Braun shared her deep concerns about her friend's sudden disappearance. Something was terribly wrong, she recounted. There's no way she would have left Peanut. Meanwhile, Slesinski's mother, Arlene, who worked as a nurse in a home for the elderly, received a call from one of Lori's co-workers. I believe it was her boss, Arlene recalled. She told me, I just want to let you know your daughter Lori hasn't shown up for work, and immediately alarm bells went off. She promptly headed to Auburn, notifying her husband Casey and contacting the Auburn police during her anxious drive to the mobile home they had purchased for Lori when she enrolled at Auburn University. Initially, authorities treated Slesinski's disappearance as a missing persons case. Lee County District Attorney Jessica Ventier explained that in Auburn, a town deeply entrenched in college football culture, young individuals might temporarily vanish but usually resurface. However, Lori did not return. 4 days after her disappearance, Slesinski's car erupted into flames on a secluded cul-de-sac near her residence, close to a construction site. The incident occurred in a well-maintained trailer park often frequented by students. But Lori was not found in the burned vehicle, as confirmed by police. There was absolutely no sign of her, Ventier emphasized. I mean none. Arlene, Lori's mother, was overwhelmed with fear. The emotions were just indescribable, filled with fear, knowing that something truly terrible had occurred, Arlene expressed. Police spoke with Ennis because not only was he a friend of Lori's, but he had also been present at her residence on the day she vanished. Ennis initially assured them that Lori was fine when he departed. However, upon re-interviewing him, authorities noticed scratches on his arms and hands, along with inconsistencies in his statements. Subsequently, they discovered Ennis' troubling history. He had previously murdered his mother and stepfather. Ironically, Arlene revealed that Ennis had spent Christmas 2005 at their family home. Lori had invited him out of sympathy, as he had no family of his own. Arlene couldn't fathom the reason behind his lack of family ties. Despite Ennis' shocking past and the circumstantial evidence implicating him, authorities believe that without direct evidence connecting him to Lori's disappearance and without locating her body, they lacked grounds for arrest. Ennis soon relocated, and Lori's case grew cold. However, in 2016, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency established a cold case unit, spearheaded by Mark Whittaker, a special agent with the Alabama State Bureau of Investigation. Whitaker selected Lori's case as their inaugural investigation, alongside his longtime partner, J.W. Barnes. The team meticulously combed through files, re-interviewed witnesses, and subjected various evidence to forensic analysis. Their efforts yielded crucial overlooked evidence. After an exhaustive 18-month investigation, they amassed sufficient evidence to present to a grand jury. This evidence included a hand-rolled cigarette recovered near Lori's charred vehicle in 2006, bearing Ennis' DNA. Additionally, Ennis' DNA was found on blood inside the front door of Lori's trailer and on semen-stained bedsheets. In August 2018, a task force composed of law enforcement officers arrested Ennis in rural Virginia, where he resided and was engaged to a school librarian. He faced charges for the murder of Lori Slesinski. Breaking the news to Lori's mother was a significant moment in Whitaker's career, albeit a challenging one. Sadly, Lori's disappearance wasn't the only tragedy Arlene endured. Shortly after Ennis' arrest, her 41-year-old son, Paul, passed away from a stroke and cancer. Then, in 2020, her husband, Casey, succumbed to COVID-19. In March 2022, Ennis stood trial for Slesinski's murder. Prosecutors were aware they couldn't bring up Ennis' prior conviction for his parents' murder. However, in an exclusive interview, the now 42-year-old Ennis discussed it. He claimed that in 1993, he used the excuse of not wanting to move, but the real motive behind killing his parents was alleged abuse by his mother. But no evidence was found to support Ennis' claims. Ennis insisted that he had no involvement in Lori's disappearance. "I never murdered Lori Slesinski," he asserted. "She was a very close, dear friend of mine. I never would have hurt her." During his trial, Ennis took the stand in his defense. His fiancée Alana Atkinson observed as he maintained his innocence. His defense team also suggested that the police planted evidence to frame him. After 2 weeks, the jury deliberated to determine if Ennis had committed another murder. Lee County prosecutors sought the death penalty in Slesinski's case, who had been missing since 2006. Prosecutors argued that Ennis, fixated on Slesinski, killed her after she rejected his advances for a romantic relationship. Ennis, on the other hand, testified that he and Slesinski had consensual sexual relations, and she disappeared after leaving to meet a drug dealer. Slesinski was reported missing on June 13, 2006 by her mother, and her burnt-out car was discovered the following day. Ennis departed Auburn after being questioned by law enforcement and was apprehended in Virginia in 2018. Under interrogation during the trial, Ennis refuted any involvement in disposing of Slesinski's body and claimed ignorance regarding her fate. Forensic evidence revealed Ennis' semen inside Slesinski's mobile home, and investigators uncovered a phone, lacking its lengthy cord, in her bedroom. A hand-rolled cigarette containing Ennis' DNA was discovered near Slesinski's charred vehicle, and Ennis exhibited fresh scratches on his arms and hands when questioned by authorities. Furthermore, cleaning supplies, a knife and handcuffs were found in Ennis' vehicle, according to evidence presented. Ennis contended that the scratches on his arms originated from his dog, and the defense posited that someone planted the cigarette with Ennis' DNA at the burnt vehicle scene. Jurors rendered a verdict of guilt against Daryl Richard Ennis, 42, for the murder of Lori Ann Slesinski, 24, on the second day of their deliberations, as reported by news outlets. As we conclude the narrative surrounding Lori Ann Slesinski's disappearance and Daryl Richard Ennis' trial, it prompts reflection on the complexities of justice and truth. Where do you think Lori is? And how could she be found? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Meanwhile, in our previous case, we talk of a man shot by his wife in the name of self-defense. Or was it? For further insights, we encourage you to revisit our previous video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Crime Scene Archives for more true crime content. Stay safe, Stay vigilant.